grab a seat, grab a snack. We're chatting today. Don't say I didn't warn you. This is gonna be a very chatty, hanging out type vlog. The torch is so intense. Fall candle for the ambiance. Made my coffee. I've shared this recipe time and time again, but in case you haven't seen it, this is a new one that I tried. It's like a fall exclusive one. Now we can begin. Welcome to another video. Changing it up a little bit today. We're just gonna be having like more or less a FaceTime call, kind of like a one-way FaceTime call. I asked you guys questions on my Instagram, so I'm gonna be answering some of those. Maybe might get a little juicy, I don't know. I thought it'd be fun to do a casual, chatty video like this, just get to hang out, but with an activity, some arts and crafts. I'm gonna be painting today, which is really random because I'm like not artistic. Basically, it's paint by numbers. But I'm really excited because it's from this local company called Halepua, which in Hawaiian means Hale means house and pua means flower. I recently discovered this company and they have super cute paint by numbers, like floral ones. I thought it'd be fun to do together while we chat, catch up, hang out. I got 3 different kits. All of them are flowers. It's so pretty. I feel like I'm underestimating just how hard this is gonna be, but basically it comes with everything you need. It comes with the paintbrushes, paints. I'm kind of in between these two, but I feel like this one might be a little more fun because it has more colors and this one's mostly pink. Anyway, I'll link it down below. Obviously love to support Hawaiian-owned businesses. So the hair is going up. I'm gonna set up my little station and then answer some questions. I've actually done a paint by numbers once. I attempted to do Starry Night from Van Gogh, which was probably like the most unchill thing I could have ever done. I did it, I completed it. It took a few days, but it was pretty good. Let's just hop right into this. Do you have a set timeline for kids or are you just going with the flow? Definitely not just going with the flow because that would be dangerous. I feel like with the amount of babies in my life right now, like my sister having a baby, so many of my friends do, the baby fever is real. It's definitely something that I've been thinking about a lot. Not like, okay, let's get going. Like, no. I feel like for some people, they grow up knowing that they want to have a family and like be a mom, but that wasn't how it was for me. But those feelings are definitely a lot stronger now. And that's definitely something that I want and that I see in my future. Not my near future. Also in terms of timelines in general of like, when I want certain things to happen, when I want to get married, when I want to have kids, like all these things, it's so easy to sit here and like try and plan that all out. But I've tried to really let go of the control of trying to plan out my entire future because the future that I had once planned for myself, even 5 years ago, nothing went to plan and everything turned out great. But sometimes it can be really frustrating when you have such a tight grip on what you think you want your future to look like and planning that out and kind of revolving your life around that. But life does not care what your timeline is. Like life's gonna happen anyway. So I am trying to be a little more chill with the whole timeline thing. But that being said, I'm just a girl. So of course in my head, I'm like, this would be ideal, but I'm also not gonna freak out if it doesn't go as planned. You know what I mean? I almost literally dipped my paintbrush into my coffee. Someone asked if I would ever live outside of Hawaii, and then someone else asked if I would ever live on another island. And the answer to that is probably like no to both. I say probably because again, you never know what can happen, but the odds are extremely low. Like the odds are less than 1%. One, I just bought a house, so I'm kind of tied down here, which is great. I wanted to be tied down. I wanted to like start settling down. No, I knew I wanted to be here and there's nowhere else I'd rather be. That sounds so cheesy, but truly like my family is here, my friends are here, and I just like, I don't think there's any reason for me to leave. Like I don't have the ambition to want to do that. I used to, there's a point where I really thought that I would live in New York City, at least for a period in my life, but I'm happy with just visiting. And I also think that I've created such a life for myself here. And obviously like growing up here, it is so hard to leave. Even in terms of living on another island, when Micah had initially moved to Maui, I was gonna move up there with him but that just didn't work out. And something I feel like people don't realize if you haven't been here or if you're not from here is that each island is so different. And so even when I would go to visit Micah on Maui when he was living there, it's just so different. Like I truly don't think I could live there. I like living on Oahu where there's like a mix of everything. There's fun things to do. There's still like nightlife. There is like a city if you did want to drive and go there. Maui's definitely a lot more country, which is so beautiful and amazing. And that's so fun personally to like visit, but I don't think I could live there. Aren't you ever scared your boyfriend's gonna leave you? No. Progress update. This is what I've gotten done. Any thoughts on an engagement anytime soon? What would you categorize as soon? If you listen to the podcast and you've listened to the episodes I've done with Micah, I think in the most recent one, we kind of talked about this. Is it something we talk about kind of often these days? Yes. I'm not gonna lie. We had like no chill when we were dating. I think this was a conversation we had, not even about like marrying each other, but just marriage in general and only wanting to pursue a relationship if it was going that route. I honestly think like a week into hanging out, literally no chill. I will say though, we're not in the biggest rush because on one hand, it's like, okay, if we know it's gonna happen, there's no need to rush it. But also in my head, I'm like, okay, if we know it's gonna happen, like let's elope. But also I'm like, okay, I'm 23, but also I'm like, okay, people in Utah get married at 19, but also that's like a very different cultural thing, which I understand. No hate to that. I do not care what other people do. But for myself, I've always seen myself getting married around like 25, 26, because right now I still feel like a kid. I don't want to feel like a kid when I'm getting married. You know what I mean? We already live together. And honestly, I think we're both just enjoying being boyfriend and girlfriend, because it's like once you're married, that's a whole other exciting phase, but we're gonna have so many more years married than we are in this like fun relationship state. I don't know. That being said, did we walk into a jewelry store? Yes. Crazy story about that. I'm gonna spill some tea here. I wasn't really gonna talk about it. We were at the mall going shopping for fall soaps at Bath and Body Works, and we passed K Jewelers, which is like a popular jewelry store. And he was like, let's go in there. And I literally, my heart sank into my ass. I was like, oh, what do you mean? Like, I suddenly felt so nervous. Like, we have talked about getting engaged and whatever, all of that for so long. But when he said that, I completely froze and I was just too stunned to speak. But it was really cute because he said, I want you to look at the engagement rings and pick out your top 5. And then don't tell me what it is. And then I want to see if I can guess which ones are your favorite so that I know what style you like. Yeah, that was fun. I wouldn't consider that wasn't ring shopping, but that was kind of like a fun side quest. What has been the hardest part about moving into a home and being a first-time owner? I think the hardest part has been staying on top of everything and trying to learn everything that I can, because you don't know what you don't know. And I didn't know so much because we're not really taught about any of this stuff in school. So I feel like I went into this really blindly. I also see a lot of questions of people being very curious about the finances of it all. I have a mortgage. So if you see me doing a few more brand deals than usual, the check is due. I think the best investment I've made so far in terms of this house is getting solar energy. So PV panels, solar energy panels on the roof, which has helped so much. My electric bill before getting that installed was around like $400, $500. My first one came in since getting it installed and it was like $60. I went with a local company called Independent Energy Hawaii, and they were so great. The install process was amazing, and they're just really sweet, locally owned company, which obviously we love to support. I'll link their social media and their website below if you or anyone you know that lives in Hawaii wants to invest in that, because that was seriously game changing. And I just know that that investment is really going to pay off. My favorite question to ask is, how did your parents meet? This is such a cute question. One I love to answer and tell people because I think it's so cool. So my mom is from New York. She's a Long Island gal. My dad, born and raised on Oahu. How do two people on the opposite ends of like the world basically meet, other than on an around the world trip because your mom's a flight attendant and your dad worked for the airlines and they met? And my mom said she was just so captivated by this tan local Hawaii boy. She was this, you know, white girl from Long Island, and now here I am. It is truly so weird when you think that your parents actually had a life before you existed. Like, your parents have been the age that you are now. Your parents have been in their 20s trying to figure it out. Your parents were once dating. Someone asked, what are your and Micah's ethnicities? As a gift, actually, last Christmas, my dad got both Micah and me ancestry DNA kits, so we recently did that. And we are a very mixed couple. So for me, I'm mostly Filipino at 22%, 20% Portuguese. This one sent me, and it was so unexpected, I'm 15% Jewish. That was like an identity shock to me, because I'm like, what? 14% Southern Italy, 6% Northern Italy, so like 20% Italian, and then the rest is Hawaiian, Wales, a little bit of French, a little bit of Chinese, and a little bit of Irish. So a big mix going on, but I feel like that's expected because of my parents' vast backgrounds. Like my dad being from here and my mom being from there. And then for Micah, he is, I think, like 60% Filipino. And then the rest is, he has a big chunk of Irish from his dad's side, and then Hawaiian and New Zealand Maori. So big mix. I think there's a couple other things in there too, but those are like the bigger ones. This one is really funny. Someone asked Micah's reaction to spicy book scenes. First of all, I'm shocked that you think he reads. Not in like a jab to him, but that man, like, reading is not his thing, and that's okay. However, as you all know, it is my thing, and so we will be laying in bed. He'll be on his phone, looking up football stuff, and I will audibly gasp reading my book, and he'll be like, what? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, smut has entered the chat. And the first time that happened, he was like, what is smut? And I was like, oh, why don't I just read it to you? So I proceeded to read him smut from A Court of Mist and Fury. I was laughing my actual ass off at his reaction to that. I think he was so shocked. He was like, so this is what you're reading. I'm not gonna lie, it was so uncomfortable to read that out loud, because reading it is one thing. It's like, ooh, this is spicy, this is fun. But then reading it out loud, you're like, oh. Anyway, that was an experience. Progress update. What's the best and worst thing about living in Hawaii? I think I'll start off with the worst so that we can end with the best. I think the worst thing is just how far it is from everything, which also sometimes I like because I feel so removed from, I mean, just so many things. But I will say it's hard, especially with long distance friends, family that lives in New York. It is not an easy place to get to, and I feel like living here is not the easiest place to travel from. So that's pretty tough, primarily with long distance family. That's hard. I mean, there's so many good things. Like, obviously it's so beautiful here. It's my home, but I love the aloha spirit. I feel like being from here and being a local, or being from here and being Hawaiian, is such a connecting force between people. And it's super cool because even I've been places across the world and will see someone with a certain brand that I feel like only local people would know, and I have had so many different conversations with people of like, oh, you're from Hawaii, and it's this instant like bonding thing. And even just in terms of seeing how people here can really come together and support each other, support different things. Obviously, the culture is so beautiful. Hawaiian culture is something that I do not nearly know as much as I want to know about. Micah definitely has a lot more knowledge than me, so it's something that we talk about a lot, and I love learning from him. I'm not gonna lie, this is not going as I planned. I thought 30 minutes max and we're done. So I'm gonna lock in. I'm gonna finish this painting and I'll see you after. Here she is, my paint by numbers painting. I'm actually so proud of this. That was tedious. My back hurts. I was like hunched over that whole time, but that was so fun. I feel like I didn't do too shabby of a job. That was really, honestly, relaxing. I feel like it would be cute to put, because I don't have any artwork going on in this hallway, so that would actually be really nice. Maybe like over here. And then I also have this piece that I've been wanting to put up. Not a paint by numbers piece. This is like done by an actual artist. But I feel like this could be a really cute wall to kind of display some artwork. And then when I end up doing the other paint kits that I have, This could be like a fun little gallery wall. So I think I might do that. Stay tuned. I was thinking of maybe answering a few more questions, but I fear I have talked your ear off enough. I know this video is a little different than what I normally do, but I hope you still enjoyed it anyway. If you stayed to this point in the video, you're so real for that because this video is so long. And I get it, our attention spans these days are getting shorter. So if you stayed to this point in the video, comment down below. I can't believe Ava secretly eloped. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. I was literally about to drink this because I thought it was matcha for a sec, but it's just my pink cup. I love you so much and I will see you in the next video.